These will be nitty gritty in the field things that will help you be more productive, close more deals. You're going to get Blake's insight from having done it for 4 years. I've done it for 15 years. I'm still doing it, still training realtors on this. So let's kick this off. And hopefully this podcast style is super cool for you guys to kind of get a different vibe. All right, let's wrap up this month with this episode. Excited for this one. If you're wanting to prospect door to door, I don't care if you're in real estate, pest control, alarms, you can sell turf now door to doors, whatever the product is. We're going to talk about nitty gritty strategy of when you're out in the neighborhood. And the cool thing about this episode is there's a lot of people that train on this that haven't done it for a while, that they were maybe the best back in the day, but they haven't done it. And the beautiful thing about this platform is I will never be a coach that trains you on something that I'm not doing right now. And literally the reason why I maintain this skill set is to help you, because when you're doing it, there are little things that you remember, like, oh, that's another thing that I forgot is important. You've got to actively be doing it. I've done this for 15 years, all over the nation, in 40 different markets, and I just did it out in Orlando with a bunch of realtors. Cassidy is someone that I just partnered with that came over to Real, that is now on our brokerage team. She's a massive social media powerhouse that is now learning to door knock. And so I flew out to Orlando. I door knocked with her in the evening, and then we door knocked the following day after a seminar. And I made this big list of these are things that if you're not actively prospecting door to door and you haven't done it for a while, you're going to forget are important. And if you haven't prospected, this will help you go faster. You'll close more deals. You'll have more purpose and intention. So this is going to be an incredible episode on door knocking. We're going to kind of do this as a podcast style. I've got Blake here with me that runs my YouTube media content. Blake has knocked doors before. He's really well experienced. He's going to give his perspective on this topic so that you can have two people that have done this, that are still doing this, to help you understand how to go prospect door to door. So this is going to be a great episode. Excited that you guys are here. This will be a great way to wrap up the month. If you haven't gone back, watch the other episodes. Make sure you go back and watch the one on how to increase your close ratio and get 5 clients in the next 30 days. Go watch the episode on mentors. There's so much crap in this industry and on social media. There's so much fluff and people that are gurus that forgot to actually do the thing that they're proclaiming to be gurus on. So you got to know who to follow. Then we talked about morning and nightly routines. There were 5 eBooks that we gave out. Make sure you go get those. Today, there's 2 eBooks that we're going to mention. Make sure you catch the phrase, why you want it, and then I can get those out to you. Before we do that, though, we're going to go through the book. This is the last week we're focusing on Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. If you can get really good at painting the picture, starting with the why with your customers, the how becomes a piece of cake. People will run through a burning building if they have a child in there. That's the power of beginning with why and really painting a picture for your clients. Next quarter, we're going to continue on leadership, but this will be the last week on this book. Make sure you go get it, wrap up on that. Simon Sinek is one of the GOATs in leadership, so that you can then increase your ability to lead others. Because people in real estate and in sales, they just want to work with someone that's a leader. If you can increase your value as a leader, that's where more people are going to want to work with you. Okay, so here we go. Blake, welcome.
What's up, man?
It's good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, dude. It feels like we were just here doing a course.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
That's right. Yeah, if you guys want to up your content game, social media game, exposure game, we've got a course that's coming out on that. Mm-hmm. Also, I've got a course on Door Knocking 101. You guys can go buy that. I've got free content all over YouTube on scripts and door knocking and all that stuff
too
that I have filmed here.
Yeah, really good content. And by the way, guys, like door knocking, prospecting is very similar to social media. There's so many parallels, so many similarities. So you mentioned in your intro just barely, I'd like to state for the record, I am not actively prospecting door to door, but I am actively selling and prospecting for podcasters and other stuff. So it all translates, but I think I've been in tune with your content so much. I'm remembering a ton about my door knocking days. So I did door to door for about 4 years. That was it. And I sold a higher ticket item, a window replacement. So replacement windows that were energy efficient. And I did back-to-back years with over $3 million in sales, in revenue at least. And then, it was a good time, right? Good time. And now I've started my wife started a media company here that we run together. So she kind of retired me from door to door, but I ran an amazing team for years of just killers, man, just the go-getters. Right. And we had a little bit different strategy than some clients. We wanted to look a certain way on the door. So we looked really blue collar, and we went to small towns where there was a lot of blue collar people, and the beard and everything. I wasn't wearing a polo. I was wearing jeans and boots, and it worked. But there's a bunch of stuff that we're going to talk about today that I think your audience and your students will really like. So thanks for having me, dude.
So real quick, before we jump into this, I'll let you do the tagline that we'll have printed on shirts one day.
Yeah. You better get some damn notes. You're going to take a lot of notes.
There we go.
So
I told Blake that he could come on if he gave the tagline.
Oh, yeah.
But I just flew back from Orlando, and I was thinking, man, there's such a large list of things that if you're knocking or if you've knocked like Blake in the past, you'll know that are so important. And it's very easy to catch those that haven't knocked because they won't mention these things. So you will take a ton of notes, and these will be nitty gritty in the field things that will help you be more productive, close more deals. You're going to get Blake's insight from having done it for 4 years. I've done it for 15 years. I'm still doing it, still training realtors on this. So let's kick this off. And hopefully this podcast style is super cool for you guys to kind of get a different vibe on everything. Okay, so let's have you go first.
Sure.
What would be one thing in the field, nitty gritty, while they're prospecting that would help them regardless of their industry?
Regardless of industry, ladies and gentlemen, if you're knocking doors, you have to be sold and confident that what you're bringing to that neighborhood is valuable, whether it's your skills as a real estate agent to help people upgrade their lifestyle, right? Because from what I understand, you're teaching people to target condos and townhomes and starter homes. So you're finding that couple, that specific avatar, and maybe it's different for some of your students have a different avatar, but you're finding that person that's ready to upgrade. So if you don't believe and have confidence that you're going to come in there and find that person, get that first. Go back to the drawing board, read that book, start with the why. What is your why? What's the why for your client? But it's that confidence. If I could boil it in, it's just the confidence that you have value in that neighborhood, and you'll overcome so many objections. You'll overcome all the self-doubt of like, man, I'm getting weird looks from people. And then, you got to show it outwardly, like wave at everybody, talk to everybody, right? Let them know what you are and what you're here for. So even if they're not interested, hey, I'm just here. We live in a weird time and I want you to know what I'm doing in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
So you don't get weird.
Yeah. So we were doing our pre-knocking ritual where if you guys haven't seen my YouTube video on that, go back and watch that. But I always show up to area, get out of my car, turn on the Les Brown video. I'm the one. I jot down like all my stresses, etc. Then we pray. And there were a bunch of us in a circle. And there was a guy that walked by with his dog, and I just waved at him. And I was like, hey, do you want to join our prayer circle? Just as a joke. And the guy was like, no, I'm good. And he kind of walked off.
Yeah.
But I told everyone, and I was like, that could have been the HOA president.
Yeah.
That could have been a cop. That could have been someone that could have reported me. It could have been a pastor. You never know. But you never know who's driving by, who you're waving to.
Right.
And so you have to hold yourself with purpose and intention.
Yeah.
And that you have value that you're bringing, right? Because when you're knocking, the energy you give off is usually what you get back. There are some people, I don't know if you've knocked with them, but they get kicked out of neighborhoods. They get the cops called on them. They get people that yell at them all the time. And I've done it for 15 years and I've never been kicked out of a neighborhood, never had the cops called on me. And I usually don't get a lot of people that yell at me.
Yeah. And by the way, and there are some exceptions. I've seen some pretty racist moments in door to door.
That is true.
But the majority of people going door to door are usually white folk.
Yep.
Right. So it's not a weird thing, because the internet likes to latch onto that. Yeah. They're like, 15 years.
Yeah.
No, it really is the energy that you put off, right? It's the approach, it's your mannerisms, it's everything. So really assess that and go knock with this guy if you haven't, or get someone in your area that's good, right? If you know somebody who is knocking doors, this might be a stretch, but if you could go as a realtor, find your local pest control company in your area that goes door to door.
Oh yeah.
Right. Find them and just say, hey, I'm not interested in pest. Like I'm interested in your craft. Can I shadow your best guy? Just go shadow a door knocker that's doing something else just to get their demeanor. Because you get a pro in the, alarms, like your background, Vivint alarms.
Yep.
Have you done pest before?
Mm-mm.
Right. There's a couple staples of door to door, like find a window company that does it. Solar is big. And just go shadow those guys, just only to learn their demeanor, their confidence, their people skills. But there is an art form to it. I guess we could get pretty deep into it. How deep do you want to go?
I mean, I would probably say that if you're watching this, it's so important that, again, this is all about nitty gritty, but what comes to mind is there's a book, Surrounded by Idiots, and it's a people skills book. But when you are knocking, you have to be really good, if you don't want to run into those issues, to catch personalities. So when someone opens the door and you can sense and you can feel like tension, well, how do you calm that down?
Yeah.
If you got someone that's bubbly, well, how do you respond back to that?
Right.
If I had one, I was knocking probably up the road from you guys a couple months ago.
Oh, really?
And there was this car that circled around twice.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, here we go. I need to avoid the cops being called or the HOA. And so I just went and approached them super friendly because I knew that I felt something was off, calmed the situation down and avoided who knows what. But again, you got to get really good at learning people skills and personality traits, and you got to pick it up quick.
That's another nitty gritty of door knocking is you have to go do it to obtain these things.
Yeah.
You can have really good people skills. I've seen some of the best charismatic salesmen ever have a hard time on the doors because there's new elements involved. You're in someone else's turf, right? And that's hard for a lot of people to get over. But yeah, that's the best way to, that's how I would do it. If somebody, in fact, it's happened to me as well, like the car circling or the guy lingering too long or the guy following you a couple doors, right? That's all part of it. And so you're just there. And sometimes they're going to have a problem with you regardless. I've had guys follow me back to my car and like drive up on me. Yep. And it is what it is. And so the best way to do it is just reply with a smile. Make sure you have good credentials too. If your city and wherever you're at has requirements for permits and licensure, go get that so you can always show it. And then you just understand that like if you drive your car out to that area, like people are going to take your plates, they're going to do stuff. People are going to be weird. Just be completely in the neighborhood and completely compliant with that, unless your rights are being violated. That's a different story. But yeah, if people are taking pictures of you and stuff, just wave, and this is where the social media comes in, because if you have a good social media team or a good presence, good head on your shoulders, that's another nitty gritty of door knocking. Is we would get the lay of the land in these local Facebook groups, right? Huge amount of intelligence on the area, right? And then we would see who's there. And then sometimes people bring it up to you. They're like, hey, you're being posted about. Like someone took your picture in this Facebook group and you're like, oh yeah. So we would get in there on like the company account and be like, hey, you guys might have seen me around. Like, just want to let you know. And we're putting a video out there of the perpetrator, right? I'm ahead of the problem, or it's like a damage control option. That's another nitty gritty thing. Is how can you get the pulse of a neighborhood? In fact, I'm curious to hear what you say. When you get to a neighborhood, there's some neighborhoods you've knocked before, but let's say it's brand new hood. I don't know if you guys driving out to hood. It's a new term
if you want to write that down.
Yeah,
hood.
I'm out to hood. Yeah, that's what we called it with our guys. Is like, hey, I found some good hood out here. We're all driving up listening to rap music and stuff. But we go out there and find it, like, what's the pulse, right? Like, it's a brand new area. You knock a few doors. You're kind of gathering intelligence on the lay of the land, who the homeowners are here, and whatever you're trying to sell. And then you can kind of bring that information back to your team or bring it back to your role plays with Jeremy's group, the Real Broker. So when you're doing these role plays and stuff, share that information, even if you're not in the same area. Just the act of sharing it and reporting to some people that can relate is going to help you develop the skills as well. It's like intelligence gathering. So you're understanding what's the problems in the neighborhood. What are most people looking to do? Are they trying to leave soon? Are they trying to stay? Do they hate the HOA? Do they love the HOA? Which I don't think is ever a thing. That's not a thing. But all of that stuff matters. And then if they mention the name, sometimes you'll go to 3 or 4 houses and they'll mention Susan or Johnny or Karen or whoever. And that's the HOA president. So then you're like on a mission to kind of find that person, right? It becomes a manhunt.
Yeah. One thing that I was showing agents that I was knocking with in Orlando. So we did a seminar and I pulled up on Zillow and Google Maps how to go pick area. And one thing that I had talked about was I'll do the feature on Google Maps where you zoom into the area and then you can kind of walk the streets.
Oh yeah.
That way you get a vibe for
That's
the
smart.
type of cars, the house, like visually walk through the neighborhood before you get there. Usually what I like to do is I always tell people when you knock doors, there's 3 goals. There's you close them, which real estate's a little tricky because it's not like a pest
not
control.
an instant.
It's not an instant sell for $40. I want to get a referral or I want dirt on the neighborhood. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Tell me the nitty gritty dirt. Like I want to know.
Tell me who's
like,
the
who hates
loudest.
who, who's the worst, who's the chatty Cathys. Because again, like I can leverage that the longer I'm in a neighborhood. But one thing that helps a ton, you talked about like knowing your neighborhood. When I get my first deal,
Yeah.
so if you're in real estate watching this, when you get a listing or a buyer or you have a referral or someone that you have a good connection with, get in the Facebook pages as fast as you can.
That's great.
That's like a number one rule of thumb. I had a guy that I trained last year. You remember this. William Andy is out in Indiana. Rookie realtor, no real sales background, like not really ever knocked doors.
Was I on that call with him?
Yep.
That was,
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he sold 57 homes his first year as a realtor. And a lot of people that weren't one-on-one coaching him don't realize that he was getting on Facebook groups, getting blasted all the time.
Yeah.
And he would call me and be like, what do I do? What do I do? My brother's calling me. Like he's saying that I'm giving out a bad vibe to the area. And I told him, I was like, you've got to, right when you get a neighborhood, if you get any sense or feel for any of that, you need to then use a customer to then put from your company page or like an intro video of, hi guys, like my name's, Jeremy Davis. I'm going to be in your neighborhood for the next week or so. I'm just looking to see who's going to do blank, blank, blank. If you have any referrals, I'd love to chat with you. I'm not the boogeyman.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not trying to convert you, like do something funny that brings down the tension. But if you can put that in the Facebook group and hit them before they hit you, that's owning your neighborhood, right? Like that's having the mentality that you belong there. You're supposed to be there. You have value. That is your office versus like being so timid that you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, because that being timid, being fearful, that's a different energy. And I wasn't a hippie before I did door to door, and then you start understanding your own energy regulation, right? Your daily routine, the rituals, saying a prayer, like whatever it is, reading a verse of scripture, writing something in your journal before you go out, a mantra that you repeat, whatever it is. Those are all part of this nitty gritty setup that when you get on the doors, you're your best self. You're the best representative for the problem that you can solve. You're just in the best state of mind for that. And then, this is the nitty gritty. It's being courteous of the neighborhood while respecting it. But at the same time, you're like owning it in a small way where like, hey, I'm meant to be here.
Yep.
Right. And you throw names around like, oh, I've talked to, Merrill, a couple streets over. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's very disarming. Oh, you've already talked to Chuck. Oh, you've already talked to Susan.
And one thing too is you don't have to do deals with those people.
No, you just have to talk to them.
You just have to have talked to them, and then you can drop their names.
So hey, I knock on your door. I'm like, hey, so Chuck down the street, I saw he's got a muscle car. He said, you're the guy that has it. And even if he's not, you're like, you're the guy with the muscle car, right? He's like, no. And then they'll tell you where the guy with the muscle car is. You can get that. So almost like the next 5 doors, even though I knew it was the house with the, the red stucco down the street, I knew it was that, right? I still asked every guy that I spoke to 3 houses in a row. I was like, hey, you're the guy with the muscle car, right? Chuck's told me you. They're like, oh no, that's this guy over here. Yeah. I'm like, honestly, I'm here for this company doing this, but I was hoping you had a muscle car, right?
Well, one thing too is if someone's not going to do business with you, and just ask how long they've been there, because then you can say, oh yeah, Tom, like on the corner house, he's been here for 5 years, has the wife and 2 kids. Like the more data you can give when you're name dropping. We knocked till 10 o'clock at night. Did you see my live on that?
I didn't see your live. No,
we're knocking till 10 o'clock at night. I'm doing the live, wrapping up. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the fireworks go off from Disney World.
Oh, that's sweet. In Orlando.
Yeah. I was like, this is a dream.
Yeah.
I would knock every day if I lived here. But anyways, I was talking when we were doing that. I was like, some of our best leads that converted into deals came from the nighttime knocking. And how do you get over the nighttime knocking? It was simply just using names, timelines, leverage of like the area.
Yeah.
We had one guy that came out and we had name dropped the neighbor. We had brought something up about the HOA that we collected. Like the longer you're in an area, you're going to collect details.
Yeah.
That way you like come across as, oh, this guy's, is
You
he
sound
like
like
my
a pro.
neighbor? Like, does he live here? Like he knows more about the neighbor than I do.
Exactly. I was going to say you probably will know more.
Yeah.
Than the actual residents. Yeah.
Anyways, the guy came out and we got 4 referrals from him. But because we had collected so much data, that gained the rapport to have him come out. Yeah. And that's just another nitty gritty is the longer you're in a neighborhood, be collecting pieces to the puzzle. Kind of like what you were talking about, like go get as much data as you can, because then the longer you're in there, that's usually where you get the best deals.
Right. And this actually reminds me, we were talking about this. I have a military background as well. And I was telling Jeremy, you know, in the military, the more intelligence you can collect, the more that's a luxury to have. Like, you know, when you have 100% of intelligence that this is the way it is, that's when you should start going, I saw this in Black Hawk Down and a lot of guys died, right? Like that's not, no, there's never 100%. You're never going to have assurance or a surety with this gig. And if you're in real estate already, you know this, you're commission based, you're performance based. So that's how you get paid. So door to door, it's like almost the perfect meshing. It's like, I don't know why more real estate agents, once I started listening to you and doing your content here, I was like, yeah, why don't more real estate agents like actually go hunt? You know, I'm like, that's interesting because I thought they were separate, you know, door to door and then real estate. And then you were saying people in the real estate industry don't consider them as sales individuals. I'm like, oh, that's weird. But now the connection is there. So you're already, if you're doing real estate, you're already embracing the chaos. You already live in this uncertainty, right? And so the more intelligence you can build about a demographic, about a neighborhood, about that avatar that you want to do, you're building a better, it's more luxury for you to perform better, right? Because in the military, you're lucky to get 20-30% of the picture, and then you got to make decisions that are going to like end up maybe costing some life in a bad way. So just think about that. Like the more you gain about the neighborhood or about your client or about whatever, not in an invasive way, you're not like tapping phone lines and like hacking people's Wi-Fi, you know, like nothing like that.
Or selling alarms and breaking in the night before, then coming and selling the alarm the next day.
Yeah, like, hey, I heard there was a robbery. I have a solution.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, so nothing like that, but you're just there. Hey, I'm here to add value. I'm here to get to know people. And you're just kind of passively gathering data. And that will help your confidence. That will help you get more sales, help you solve more problems too, because you know, you might not even help a guy get a new house, but you know a guy who could fix his water heater, right? Let me give you his number real quick. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
And now you're even more welcomed. Yep. So it's about people and gather as much as you can, I guess.
And I would say 2 things along those lines is that's why you guys always see me, like I carry a notepad and usually my iPad underneath my arms, but I carry a notepad because usually I'm like, okay, I just talked to Gus. Here's his number. This is what he told me, right? Like you're just kind of taking notes on the neighborhood. And sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, no, I just talked to your neighbor. Oh yeah, Janet. Yeah, Janet's the one on the corner. And it just helps you offload the information because if you don't do that, like you're going to forget the second you're done knocking. Exactly. You're going to talk to so many people and you're going to hear so much stuff that you've got to stay organized. I was showing the realtors that I was knocking with in Orlando. I think I've shown you this too. But if you guys pull out your Google Maps, you can actually zoom in on a house and you can now pin the house. Have I shown you this before?
Not on Google Maps.
Yeah, Google Maps. You can pin the house, so right here, and then you can hit save, and then you can categorize it now. So if I could do a ghost emoji for not home, and then I can put notes in there.
Wait, Google Maps is now a door knocking app.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And so for completely free, you can then, like look, and now all like in your area, I'll have a little ghost on that house because they weren't there the last time I was there.
Interesting.
But anyways, be like part of the nitty gritty is like, you're working so hard in that neighborhood, you got to track it. And track the homes you're talking to. So when you come back through again, you know, that person wasn't home, that person, the spouse wasn't home. You're taking notes, like collect that data and organize it. Otherwise it's just complete chaos and you're going to forget who you talked to. And then you're going to look dumb because you come back and you knock the same house again and give the same pitch again. Oh, did the neighbors thought it was coming by? Oh. It's like, bro, you just said that like an hour ago.
Yeah.
So,
You were
like
just
organize yourselves.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's a good point, man. And then also focus on the correct information too, right? Like I have some some salesmen that were under my belt or on my teams and stuff like that, they were like very, very actively collecting worthless information.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. It's important to be able to understand, you know, someone's name and a little bit about their background. But when you start understanding that they're looking for a laundry detergent that doesn't give them allergies, and like this may or may not be from an exact experience. And how, and then in the notes, I spent an hour with them trying to find the problem with their. I'm like, oh, okay, so you wasted an hour. I'm like looking at that. Anyway, make sure you're getting good data and what's pertinent to your reason for being there.
Yep.
Right? You don't need to. You can chat it up, but I don't need to write down and log information about someone's meal prep for a family reunion coming up that week. You know what I mean?
Don't take the time to write that down.
Yeah, and the more you do it, I'm sure the first couple of years you knock doors, you kind of get sucked into these chatty Cathy tornadoes. It just happens. You're like, oh man, I got to get away. It just keeps going. They just keep going. But you kind of learn over time how to shuck that off and really just stay focused on this crazy focused intent of why you're there.
Yep.
And you can skirt around, maybe talk about the muscle car, maybe talk about golf, whatever, but then you're bringing it back always. So that's another nitty gritty thing that you'll learn with time.
I'd probably say like the last thing I would say in regards to that being your office, that being your hood, like belonging there, is I think realtors were surprised when I knocked with them that I had my brown boots, jeans, and an MJ shirt. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's my MJ shirt that has the rings on it.
Oh, yeah.
Like his hands are up and he's got a ring. And I had a Bulls ball cap, and that's what I knocked it. And people were like so surprised because the ones that came showed up in polos, ties, dress shoes, and all that stuff. And so like part of the nitty gritty of knocking is you need to have a balance of look like a neighbor and don't look like a bum. And definitely don't look like a salesperson, because you guys got to remember when they look at your doorbell or they look out the window or they drive by, if they sense that you're a salesperson for like a second, then they're not answering that door. They're going to kick you off. They're going to call the HOA president and complain. Like you just can't come across as a salesperson. Like that's a barrier that you don't need to overcome. So just like if you're a guy or girl, just dress like you're a neighbor. Don't look like a bum, but dress like you're a neighbor. Like some of the best girls that are knocking door to door, like Suli and Melissa and a bunch of other like top tier door knockers, they wear Lulu pants, a Lulu shirt, and Nikes.
That's it.
It's not heels. It's not a blouse.
It's not a pantsuit.
Yeah. It's not
like the typical billboard of a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Avoid that.
Do the opposite.
Yeah, just, I mean, go knock. You literally, honestly, you could knock in your pajamas. You could.
Yeah.
I've been borderline almost looking like I had a beard literally this big when I knocked doors. I have pictures of it right now. It's like this big. And I was knocking doors, but I had like a good pair of jeans on and a nice pair of shoes and like appropriate for the weather clothing. And then I would knock on people's doors. But I was in small towns, because we'd go in where these window replacement companies wouldn't really go because of the logistics. Yeah. We'd go in there and make a killing. I'd be there for 5 days and pull out, multiple, like I think 400,000 was one of the biggest months in a small town. Just in pure revenue for the company, just boom, 5 days. Like it was insane for that company to get that much work. So it was a miracle, but it was for the city, right? But when I see a guy walking up to my door and he's got khaki shorts on with a tucked in polo and a clipboard, I'm like, pest or solar.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I made a rule. I'll always hear out a door-to-door salesman unless I'm like really pressed for time, but I'll always listen to their pitch, but most people won't. You'll get the door, especially in Las Vegas. You've probably knocked there. Yeah, they'll
California.
Smell you.
They'll smoke you.
Yeah, Texas as well.
Yep.
But the small towns you can kind of get away with more because they're not solicited as much because of the logistics. But
what's cool about that is no matter, like if you guys are watching this and you're in Minneapolis, Texas, California, Canada, it doesn't matter. Like you have to eliminate objections that you don't want to deal with. And the biggest one is you've got to come across as you're supposed to be there, you have value, you're a neighbor, and that you're in charge and confident.
Yeah. And that negates all the other salesmen that have been there that day even. Because I've knocked doors I'll admit it was a little bit intentionally. I knocked doors directly behind a competitive company that was competing with us in a kind of a bigger city. And I landed the sale. Like it's, even though you were just here, we had your guy here. Oh, well, that's all right. I'm different. I was so much more confident in why I was there. And what's funny is I knew the kid that was still knocking that area he switched companies.
Yeah.
And so we just happened to be there and I was like, oh, game on. Okay. All right. So I saw him and it wasn't my finest moment, but it was, I got to compete.
Do you remember a couple months ago when we did that mastermind in Salt Lake?
Oh yeah.
We sold pizza, gift cards door to door.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was funny because what I did is I let everybody go and then I waited. And then once they kind of burned all the ships,
and then you went behind them.
I went behind them, and I was like, "Oh yeah, the company sends out the flyer boys or the amateurs first. I'm here to collect the deal. Like, why didn't you sell? You just why didn't you buy and you get right into it?
Yeah.
But I realized we were even knocking Orlando, and we were behind a satellite guy.
Oh yeah,
doing fiber, and it was funny because I told all the realtors, I said, "Hey, let's watch him do a pitch. Exact same jokes." Exact same thing. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's the same thing. And it really is. Like it's the exact same thing. Doesn't matter your industry. All right. Last thing that I want to talk about, and then we're going to wrap up for Nitty Gritty, like practical. Hopefully you guys are taking it, just a ton of notes and a good list of like when I'm knocking, these are the things I need to remember. The last thing I want to talk about is speed, speed and focus. And we could go like 20 minutes on this, but we'll try to keep it short, but speed, focus, intention. Like I think a lot of those that have knocked with me or that were knocking with me in Orlando, I would do my pre-knocking ritual. And then the second I say amen on the prayer, go. Yeah. And it's like phone was off. I don't care if you guys are way behind me. We're going. And like I just was going so quick that the one girl was knocking in flip-flops, Cassidy, who's now on the brokerage team. And she was laughing and she was like literally having to run to catch up with me. And I'm like, you have to be moving so quick.
Oh, yeah.
Because the motion creates emotion. And if you're going slow, you're usually going to then check out on your phone.
Yeah.
You're usually if you're going to be there for 4 hours, you'll be there for 30 because you get distracted and you're like, oh, I've talked to everybody, but really you only talk to 4 people.
Yes.
And so your brain starts to mess with you. But like, you got to go quick and be efficient. There were some conversations, like I would talk to someone on the door and I could feel that they just were not having it. Yeah. So I'd ask for referrals and then get out. And I would tell people like, do you see how he had zero interest? And they're like, yeah. Then why would I have stayed there to try to push him on to the next house? And so if you're going quick and you have speed and momentum, like I think that's the biggest thing when people knock with me is like, man, you're just so quick. It's like true. I'm trying to get all these key indicators I'm trying to hit. Every hour I want to talk to 12 people. I want to get into one house. I want to look for one person that's ready to go. And I want like 5 referrals. And I'm just tracking those numbers as quick as I can.
That's the difference between a pro and an amateur, right? Is the speed in which you can get to the probability of their interest, right? Are they qualified? So I actually like to disqualify a lead. That's because then I win. So talking about speed and efficiency, disqualify them before you try to qualify them. Yep. You'll get to it faster. You can move on. But then also speed is also relative because we're talking Jeremy Davis here, pro, 15 years quick. You can go quick. And like, people are trying to keep up with you. But if you're new, go at the speed that you're good at. So if you're brand new to door knocking and this is really uncomfortable for you, push yourself, go quick, but don't feel bad if you're not. You might waste 8 minutes with somebody before you get to, they're not qualified. But, probably where you could probably get there in 30 seconds and know with a couple questions, maybe 2 or 3 questions, you're like, all right, this isn't for you. And you can move on respectfully, politely, wish them a good day. But that's quick. You're saving 7 minutes per door that's not qualified, whereas an amateur, they're going to spend 8 minutes per door, 10 or 20, right? So don't be bothered that it's going to take you time. Get the repetitions. Don't move so fast that you might ask the one question that opens the golden gate, but you won't know that until you've done it and got the reps in that Jeremy's gotten. So yeah, don't go so quick. Like, 15 years is a lot in this industry. So he can go fast, but go at the speed and push yourself to go to the next speed. As far as efficiency goes too, I was going to ask you, how do you go fast and maintain etiquette at the same time?
Yeah, I would say, as you were chatting, I was thinking that I look at it as I'm not trying to sell everybody. I'm trying to disqualify to find those that are ready. And so it's great. You're not ready. That's okay. Just hurry up and tell me, dang it, and give me a referral. And I need to go find the next one.
Yeah.
But I'm moving so quick and I'm like looking at all the houses as I'm walking through the neighborhood. But then once someone answers, it's like almost time stops.
You're there.
I'm there.
You're present.
And I'm present with the person. The skills kick in, like the jokes come in, and they get Jeremy like fully present. But the second I see that they're done, it's like you almost zone out and it's like, okay, on to the next one. But you have to remember that you might have done like 30 pitches that day.
Right.
But that person's hearing it for the first time.
Yes.
And so they deserve that full energy. I had a girl that I was like, you got to go knock. And so I got her to knock. And she went up to the door and I told her to stop. I said, come back. Now walk up the driveway and say the three things. I'm a good person. That's a good family. I'm detached from the outcome. Like go into it with purpose. Yeah. And then the second you're done, leave and go to the next one.
Yeah. That's helpful for speed, right? So another military analogy, you'll get these a lot if I'm on your content, right? But is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. A smooth action will always be faster, especially under pressure, right? And if you're trying to hurry through a script or something you're trying to say, you're trying to get to it so fast that it's rough and it's bumpy, right? I can move really fast, but I can't reload that rifle or I can't fix it because I'm messing up. So that's what Jeremy's talking about is when he goes at the door, it's one door at a time. He's not going slow. He's not really going fast. Really, he's smooth with it. And then once it's not discovered or if it's not, workable, it's not a good lead, it's disqualified, then he's out in a respectful way. And then he's on to the next one. But yeah, like the speed and the purpose too, I wanted to mention this earlier, is when you were talking about moving quick and the girl in flip-flops, she's trying to keep up. Well, guess what makes you look like you belong? Yeah. Is with intention. If you're loitering, I think I know, right? And that's what I would tell my guys, man, hey, like stop. Don't stop in front of somebody's house. Go move to the property line and step off the curb a little bit. So like they don't think you're messing with their mailbox. Like if I have to stop and take a call or make a note, I'm moving off to a property line. So they can't tell if I'm on their property or on their neighbor's property. That's just my personal preference. I don't like to loiter in front of people's houses. Yeah. Because unless I just talk to them, that's a little different. But move with intention, move with purpose. The faster you walk, the more important you look. Right? I learned that in the military. If I could get away with anything, if I just grabbed a clipboard and looked around, because all the Marines would be like, "Oh, he's putting together a work. I'm going to be on some. I'm going to dig latrines. I don't want to do that." I'm like, who are you? And so I just would walk around. You look like you move with purpose. People leave you alone. But if I was on a military base, just like moseying around, like you'd get yelled at.
Suspicion, red flags go up.
Yeah, exactly. So same thing in a neighborhood, right? They want you, when you tell them your purpose, your speed better match. I think that's a good rule of thumb for most people.
Okay, let's wrap on that. Guys, I hope this was a super beneficial episode. I've done videos on the pitch, on objections, on just knocking in general, how it works. This one is just pure like the strategy when you're in the neighborhood and you're prospecting, regardless of your industry. Hopefully you took a ton of notes on attire, on the people skills, on how to come across as a neighbor, your pre-knocking ritual, and the energy you have, and the list goes on and on and on. But I really hope that was beneficial. If you made it this far in the episode, there's 3 things we're going to give you. Before I give those out, Blake, how do they, first of all, thanks for doing this with me. On the spot, I came in and said, hey, I'm doing one on door knocking. You want to do it with me?
Yeah, and, that's another tenet of door knocking, man. If you're truly living this lifestyle, it's performance on demand. Yep. You got to be ready to speak to anybody.
Ready to go.
But yeah, I love doing media with Jeremy. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so if they want to work with you, follow you, how do they get in contact with you?
Sign up for Jeremy Davis's courses because we do a joint course about content creation. It's fire. It's a podcast format where we talk like this. Again, you're going to take a ton of notes. So just get a notepad ready. But that's how you can get in contact with us. I think we're still in the works of partnering up on some coaching calls around content specifically. Yep. So that's where you can get in contact with me. But if you want to reach out, it's just blueformmedia.com and Blueform Media on every social media platform.
Yeah,
so
give them a follow on Instagram. DM them if you guys have any questions. The 3 things that we're going to give away, if you've watched it this long, is 1, there's a new ebook on all the strategies we just went over. So if you want that, because maybe you missed a bunch of stuff, then comment Nitty Gritty. Comment Nitty Gritty and why you want it. What was your big takeaway from today? If you have my cell phone, then text me. Most of you do, or I'll respond and give you my cell phone. So I'll give you that ebook. The second one is Door Knocking 201. I have a packet on 101. There's a packet 201. So if you've prospected door to door for a minute and now you want like the advanced version, I've got a new ebook on that I want to give out to you. Go ahead and comment strategize, and I'll make sure I get that ebook out to you, because a lot of it is beginner level. But if you're really doing this and you want to take it seriously, then go ahead and comment strategize, and I'll get that ebook out to you. The third thing is, if you join the brokerage team, if you're not loving where you're at and you're not loving the team you're on, you're not getting the training, the help, and the assistance, then join Real with me. Let me sponsor you. Let me help you. Let me train you for free. Get on our brokerage team. The role play twice a day is free. The training once a week is free. The online courses are free. And you have the community of everybody else nationwide doing the same thing, all learning the same things, and I get to coach you one-on-one for free. If you do that, I will fly out to your market and I'll be with you for 24 hours. You want to door knock together, open house together, morning ritual together, just chat and connect and learn more behind the scenes stuff, do a podcast, whatever you want. If you join the brokerage team this year, I will fly out and I will personally help you and hold your hand. That way you can go a lot faster and grow your business, but more importantly, take care of you. So that's it, guys. That's all we got. Thank you a ton for watching this. What a great month, great episodes. If you didn't get all these ebooks, make sure you go back and watch the videos. There's like 10 that I gave out for free. Next month, we're going to have some killer episodes. Excited to share those with you next week.